Welcome to the Sauce Pod.
Welcome back to the Sauce Pod, our weekly podcast where we dive into the news, trends, everything that matters for creators and content entrepreneurs. So thanks for being here. I'm Taylor, host of The Sauce, along with Anna, content creator, editor, and my co-host of The Sauce. And we don't forget, we release a new episode wherever you stream your podcast every week. We also are up on YouTube where you can watch the video part of this if you want to watch us bumble around a little bit. It's always a good time. So check us out on YouTube. And then, of course, don't forget about the newsletter, which goes out every Monday. And it's, again, a deeper dive into a lot of the stuff that we talk about on our podcast, but it's the tech news, the updates, the stuff that content creators care about as you're building your digital empire. So thanks for tuning in. We've got a lot to cover today. And if you caught this week's newsletter, you would know that we kind of reverse the order a little bit. Our traditional order has always been to lead with social updates, what's going on the platforms that we all use as creators. But we're testing some things out. We're making some changes to continue optimizing this experience for everyone who's part of it and who's reading us regularly. So thank you. But this week we're diving into AI first. We're going to lead with some of that. Tell us if you guys like this option. Tweet at us or even reply on wherever you're listening to this, on Spotify or Apple. And
Be
let
nice
us
if you don't like it. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't like it, don't tell us.
Yeah.
But because we want to give a lot of our listeners and audience members who are kind of in this AI space and grappling with how it all works, what you can do with this technology, these tools, we want to just try spinning it this week and covering that stuff first. So we're going to talk about some AI stuff, including the boundaries that AI has. People are setting boundaries, except they're a little bit two-faced in them. So we'll get to that. We're going to talk about AI regulation. Of course, that's not going away anytime soon. We're going to be talking about Google integrating AI. That's a big one. Some big announcements that came out of their I/O Developers Conference a couple weeks ago. Naturally, we have the whole Twitter download for you guys. So I'm not even going to cover those things yet because the drama just continues on that end. It's like again, it's watching a train crash. You can't look away, especially when you're there. You're literally in the scene. And then naturally we're going to talk about the social verse as well. So we've got Meta updates, Blue Sky, YouTube, TikTok, and a little bit of LinkedIn for everyone who's over in the pro world saying hi to each other on LinkedIn. I think that's the agenda for today. So let's go, Anna. Let's start with the AI stuff. Talk to me about what Spotify is doing and why it's kind of creating this like weird gray area between what's allowed and what's not allowed to be AI content.
Yeah, so they're developing, or Spotify is developing, a way to create AI-generated podcast ads, but using the voices of popular, like, I guess, podcast hosts or just favorite speakers that are out there. So I think the reason why it's so controversial is because AI, like, trained on voices, I think we talked about it last week, has just been like kind of a iffy topic in the realm, especially in the music industry. If you're going to be copying someone's, voice and likeness and then, spitting out a song from AI that, they didn't create, of course, people are going to get a little fussy about that. So the innovation is cool. The idea behind it is cool. You'll definitely be able to, with AI, I think that would make specializing ads to like certain audiences and different areas super easy. But it's unclear of where the line is drawn for AI with content creation.
It's such a double standard, right? Because it's like, you have a lot of businesses right now that are, especially like on a larger enterprise level, that are banning ChatGPT or banning some of this AI stuff altogether. Some of them are rolling it back. Like, did you hear that New York Public Schools now allows ChatGPT again? After we reported, back in like February or whatever it was, we reported that like they pulled the plug, banned ChatGPT in all of their spaces connected to their internet, and they just reinstated it. So now the kids have access to that shit. And I think that's going to be more common as people are like, okay, maybe this stuff can help us. And I think that's the situation that we're seeing with Spotify, where Spotify is like, no, 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 no AI.
Right.
But then they're like, but you guys, these cool AI advertisements, right? And everyone's like, I don't know. So there will definitely need to be some level of like, I don't know, leveling of the playing field, so to speak, when it comes to this kind of content. Otherwise, it's going to continue. It's going to continue just kind of creating some imbalance between what you can create and then what the walled gardens like Spotify can create. So interesting nonetheless. And then we know about like in the world of AI right now, the scrutiny is never ending. There's so much regulatory scrutiny, especially in the newsletter this week. We recapped some of the highlights over the last few months. Oh my God. It's like time warp. Over the last few months.
The open letter was in March. That feels like forever ago. Which doesn't it feel like?
I can't believe it's already fucking June, you guys. It's crazy. So we had the open letter, and then what else did we have? We had the open letter. We had the copyright office, which one of our girls who's on Twitter that we hang out with, Chris Castanova, I think her name is. She was involved in this hearing, I guess, with the U.S. Copyright Office, where they said, okay, AI generated images can't be copyrighted at all. So there was that. And then AI godfather Jeffrey Hinton, who was like, I don't know, a consultant or doing something with Google, something in the AI realm with Google, called for like some regulation earlier this month. He stepped away from Google. He's like, you guys, there's a huge existential threat. This is problematic. And then a couple weeks ago, there was that really big Senate hearing with OpenAI's Sam Altman, who it was a Senate subcommittee that was gathering to basically figure out like, what the fuck do we do with this AI shit? Like we don't know.
The leaders of AI basically are sitting there being like, hey, we need to be regulated. Like something needs to happen. They're actually the ones going out there and saying this. Yeah.
They straight up said that at one point too. They were like, we're here admitting that like we actually don't really know about this shit. Which is why they're talking to people like Sam Altman to try to figure out like they're collecting information from experts to try to have the most like, I don't know, educated, well thought out approach to regulation, at least in the United States. And all of this stuff has been pretty much focused in the US, because other countries, especially in the EU, are already doing their own things. China is already starting regulation on their AI. But then, so after the Senate hearing, we had Microsoft was like, you guys also, we all need to regulate it, which is ironic because like Microsoft now owns OpenAI. So they have a big stake in the game, but they do agree that the government needs to impose some sort of restrictions on not only the society and masses use of these tools, but also the government's use of these tools, which gets into apocalyptic territory a little bit. And then what was the latest? We had one additional update too, from Google's Eric Schmidt, ex-CEO.
Yeah, it seems like everyone is like leaving Google and then saying like, uh-oh, AI is coming for us. Well, this one I just found interesting because the quote that he said was, an existential risk is defined as many, many, many people harmed or killed. And AI poses that risk of people dying, being killed. So he's talking about how, AI, if government doesn't step in to protect against its misuse, there's probably going to be some harm. And maybe it includes
saying this word existential. Like, I know that means things. I know it's like a pretty broad word, but like, I wonder, maybe we do a deep dive into that one of these days. Like, what actually is the existential threat? I'm sure it's super morbid and awful and horrible. But that seems to be like the recurring phrase that I'm hearing a lot of these like people, tech leaders, companies, entities state over and over again. It's a lot though. I think like the big takeaway is that regulating AI is is top of mind right now. It's top of the conversation in a lot of spaces, and now even on a larger governance point of view. And so I think we can expect that this continues in this direction probably for the next several months, if not several years. If we take a flashback down memory lane to what happened with like Facebook in its early days as it was growing quickly, hiring, firing, doing all the things, but also acquiring other companies, mishandling user data, and all the other things that Facebook had to deal with. That was just like, it felt like Zuckerberg was literally on a trial or testifying like every other week. I would like turn on the news and like Zuckerberg's up there talking to the Senate. So it'll probably continue at that scale, if not even more. So we will let you guys know. Just know that it's like early days right now. It's the Wild West and shit's crazy. You can do a lot with these AI models that are out there. So we need some regulation at some point soon. Regulation and all of that shit aside, remember Bing? We love her.
Yeah.
She's still out there. She's doing her thing. She's working the hardest right now. But we also kind of can expect that it's not going to last forever. Like, let's be honest, Bing has never really taken off to the point that it has now. And it's only because of this like AI tech. The fact that Bing is owned by Microsoft makes it, you know, very, very relevant right now. But Google, I think, is finally starting to like throw its hat in the ring in a serious way and take this AI approach seriously. It has all of these experimental labs. It's been doing research with like large language models and other AI models. But up until recently, and like obviously there's Google Bard as well, which kind of sucks, to be honest with you.
Not
it probably
great.
won't forever.
I tried it out just to compare it to ChatGPT, like put the same prompt into Bard as I put into GPT, and I was just sitting there like, no, sorry.
Yeah, it feels like copy AI from like a year ago. Like it's just not as like robust. It's not as contextualized. It'll get better though. But like really that's been the height of what Google has played with in the AI sandbox, at least on a like larger user scale. So they had their IO developer conference like a few weeks back, and they like had some big announcements, including the fact that they have, you know, their newest, largest language model, which is called Palm 2, which is going to be powering a lot of Google's different integrated AI products and touch points, things like all the way from YouTube titles and descriptions to like building out search ads. So one of the things that they announced last week, I guess, in a blog post is their new search generative experience, which, as it sounds, actually doesn't sound like anything. I don't know what that sounds like. Doesn't sound like a search. It doesn't sound like a search engine. But it's Google's new AI search engine. Basically, they're calling it Search Generative Experience, and it's an experimental search engine which integrates AI. It's only available via waitlist right now. And it's coming. Anyways, that's really all I have to say about Google's new search engine. It's going to be on the wait list. It's still very experimental at this point, but it does have, I would say it's a pretty big deal because it's going to be like the first step towards a mass adoption search engine. Like people use Bing, yes, but I think it's still a very small portion of the user share that use search engines. Like we know that the majority of it is Google. So if Google can make this happen, it's going to be big for them. Yeah. And it's going to be using that model, that Palm 2 model that they announced a couple weeks ago. Sorry, what were you going to say?
That they're adding in ads is super cool. Into that whole AI powered search experience.
Yeah.
It looks cool. I see the clip you put in here. It looks really good.
GIF. Yeah. So I guess it'll allow you to start to use, and I think we mentioned too that you can like opt into some of these experimental features that Google is playing around with. And
I think it's called Google Search. Is it called Google Labs?
Google Labs. Yes.
Google Labs. Yeah.
Google Labs. And then you can get access to some of this stuff. So in the newsletter, there's like a GIF showing what it looks like to have kind of an AI powered search experience. It's super interesting. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like this is just, this moment that we're in right now is the worst this product will ever be. So it's only going to get better from here. And it'll be interesting to see how people adopt it. But so that is that. Let's get on to the Twitter stuff. Lots of Twitter stuff.
Okay.
I know. It's always like you always have to just like prep ourselves
We do
before
have to
this.
breathe. We always do like a deep sigh before we start Twitter. We're like, Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Anna and I actually do a 30-minute prayer circle before every single podcast episode, specifically to protect our energy against Twitter.
Yeah, it's just a lot.
It's a lot to take in. So a couple of the updates is there's now picture-in-picture video playback, apparently, right? Which is like the PIP acronym, if you've ever seen that. Means that you can keep watching a clip even if you're scrolling through the app. It'll just like stay pinned down there, you know, kind of like how you can do it on YouTube. Except I think once you leave the app, it doesn't continue playing. Do you know? I haven't tried it. I haven't
tried it either. That would be nice if it's like with YouTube when you swipe out of the app and you still have the little square in your corner. Here, I'm curious. Let me pull up that.
I know. Yeah. I like how YouTube does it, but Twitter probably is struggling to make it happen. A new API access tier for startups. Oh my God, I love this because it's just like a massive slap in the face for developers. Because what was the previous price? Like 40,000 or something?
42,000.
42,000 a month to have access to Twitter's API if you are a business or a developer. Right? And like, who's fucking paying for that? Because it was free up until
who has that money to just drop on an app that is dwindling, not quite doing well at the moment. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like, that's a lot of fucking money per month, you guys. It's not even per year. Like that's the price that you pay for certain marketing tools per year. And they do a hell of a lot more than give you API access to
with that.
Right.
I'm just sitting here thinking like, what could I do with that money? Anyways.
It's insane. Also that you can get plugged into Twitter's API. Big whoop. Now it's $5,000 for startups. So they basically introduced a new access tier that they're like, oh, we know that not everyone can afford $42,000 per month. So here you guys go, startups and researchers and nonprofits, $5,000 a month, which is still astronomical. Like nobody's paying for that, I guarantee you. And this one is designed for like startups and small businesses. Like, let me just say, if you have a $5,000 a month API call access point and you are a very small marketing team, like you need to better allocate your funds because that's like, that's ridiculous. So developers are like, wow, thanks for nothing. But you know, here we are. So that's the API update. Also, follower accounts, you guys, have been plunging lately, especially for a lot of larger creators. And we know that like Twitter is always trying to clear out the bots and like doing these purges every so often. So you might see your like follower accounts kind of cycle through. But a lot of larger creators with like upwards of 50,000 followers are like, hey, I lost like 3,000 followers overnight. And like, they're not bots, or at least I didn't think they were, but they probably were. There's another interesting theory that I linked in the newsletter about how it might be, there was an article that came out from the Turkish Minute saying that it could be because of the AKP's troll army, which is the development party of Turkey. And I don't know where it goes, but you can decide for yourself. Just know that like Twitter follower accounts are kind of all over the place right now. Oh, and then what else do we have? Twitter circles. Do you have an update on that?
Yeah, I guess they could be the next thing that Elon decides to put on the chopping block. He responded to a tweet that said Twitter circles are just bad Twitter group chats and thus serve no purpose. Should just build better tooling and admin for Twitter group chats and turn off circles. And Elon responded with, I agree. So I guess circles were launched a year ago. But it looks like maybe Elon is reassessing this approach because, but we don't know. He could have just been like, yeah, I agree. And
yeah,
maybe they'll still stick around. Who knows?
He was flirting with like AOC's account on Twitter. It was an impersonation account. Like it was flirting with Elon, and he like responded back with like a heart fire emoji or something like that, and it caused the real Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to be like, yo, this is not me. Like, stop doing this shit. So the bot impersonation or just troll impersonation problems persist on Twitter. It's a good time. All right, so Twitter stuff aside, let's talk about all of the other social news that we've got this week, which is Meta Twitter's clone. We've got some more
Barcelona.
deets. Yes, we've got some more deets. Barcelona, or I've heard it called Barcelona as a code name, or I've heard it called P92 as a code name. Always try to be so cryptic. Like, why can't you just give us one? Which, by the way, you guys, literally looks like a duplicate of Instagram, just without images. So it's all text-based. We got a screenshot from this week's newsletter from somebody on Twitter who had access or was able to, I don't know, probably reverse engineer something to spy on what's happening. And it looks like
Twitter. It does, but with Instagram's colorings. Like with Instagram's
and typography and like interface. But yeah, it has like the bar down at the bottom. It has like the Discover. I wonder if you would be able to even post like images on here. I mean, I see one in the screenshot. I don't know. You guys have to go check it out. But here's what we do know so far about this app. We know that it is expected to launch at some point this year, probably this summer. It's going to be partially integrated with Instagram. We know that it obviously looks like a text-based Instagram. Instagram users, I think you wrote part of this, Anna. Instagram users will be able to like retain their verification, their handle.
Yeah, you basically log in through Instagram and it like pulls everything over from your Instagram. So you don't even have to really create a new profile, and you can, or at least this is what we think will happen or what we know, but you'll be able to, you know, edit stuff if you like. I'm not sure if it would be linked, like your profile on this app would be linked to Instagram. And then, you know, if you changed anything on Instagram, it would change over on this app, or if it would be kind of separate. But it does make the like sign up for the profile super easy.
It reminds me of like the interoperability of like Facebook and Instagram. Like you can use like one account and have them linked, but who knows? As we know, like people on Twitter and text-based platforms like to have anonymity at certain times. And we also know that like Instagram in the past has like, maybe it was Facebook, has tested like different profile pics for different profiles that one person might have, depending on the different groups and things that they're a part of. So I'm curious if that'll be a thing here, if you need to have like an Instagram account to even access it. We also know that it's decentralized, right? Like that was one of the big things that it was billed as early on, which is like, it's either built on the same framework of Mastodon or it's operable with Mastodon.
I think that they're working with Mastodon to do this. I could be wrong.
That would make sense.
But I'm pretty sure that they are. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Especially if it's like server based like that. I mean, Meta could probably swallow up Mastodon if they really wanted to.
Right.
We know that, let's see, content and interaction users will be able to post up to 500 characters, photos, links, videos up to 5 minutes long. You can like, reply, or repost content. I wonder what they'll call that feature, because so far we've got retweets, reskeets, restacks. That's Substack's one. Restacks.
Regram.
There you go.
That's calling Instagram.
Barcelona. And okay, so we know that, and then Twitter's incoming CEO, Linda Yaccarino. What was her? She
basically was just like, she heard about it, and I think people were all like, oh, you know, are you going to be able to take on, you know, an app as big as Meta that's kind of trying to create a dupe of Twitter? And she just said, game on. She tweeted that, I'm pretty sure. So, which I am excited to see how her coming onto Twitter is going to change things.
Yes,
like
same.
If we'll see drastic changes right away, if she'll like start putting her foot down immediately. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to it. I think probably just because it'll feel like a new season of Twitter. And I'm kind of tired of the same old drama all the time with this man, but it'll be interesting to see like how much she does the bidding of still like Elon Musk, or if she kind of embraces her own vision and approach to it. We know that she has really great relationship with advertisers. So hopefully they can like go back to making some money. But yeah, I'm very curious. And she's supposed to take office. She's supposed to be like brought in, what, like, was it 6 weeks or 6 months since he tweeted. I think it was, I remember the number 6 being in there some way, somehow.
It was super soon, I believe.
Like maybe like a 6-week phase in or something like that. I don't know. We'll find it. We'll include it somewhere for you guys. I know we wrote about it, so we could probably just like check the archives. But Twitter's always got stuff happening, y'all. It's a hot mess up there, but it's, you know, the internet's like favorite hell site right now still. So I'm still on there all day, every day, because I just can't seem to get out of it. I love the people on there. I do love the communities on there. I do hope that they get rid of Twitter circles because it's kind of pointless, but I like the community feature because I'm part of different groups like that on Twitter. But we shall see, you guys. We'll always keep a pulse on what's happening with Twitter because there's been also some algorithm changes that we're going to talk about next week. But that's enough of Twitter.
It looks like really fast after Googling it really fast. It looks like she's starting June 22nd. At least June that's what 22nd. I saw from, you believe everything you read on Google. So that's perfect. Maybe when she starts. Yeah.
The countdown begins then. That's only a few weeks away. All right. It's going to be an interesting summer. Okay. So Blue Sky has rolled out a really big update, you guys. The newest Blue Sky feature. And if you don't know what Blue Sky is, you should either look at our past newsletters or listen to some past episodes because we talk about it a lot. Blue Sky is the Jack Dorsey backed decentralized app that is built to compete with Twitter. And it's still in its very early beta stages. It is invite only. I've been on it a few weeks now and I love it. It's really like reminiscent of early like internet chaos and era. No real professionals on there. Everyone's just kind of skeeting. That's what it's called when you put a tweet into the wild on Blue Sky. It's called skeeting. And you have your skyline, all kinds of like weird little like fun things are popping up there. But up until now, there has been no custom feed option, no ability to segment what you see beyond who you follow and what's called a what's hot tab, which is basically like a discover feed. But the what's hot tab is always just segmented or sorted by literally like what's the most popular stuff on Blue Sky. Blue Sky is still very small. I think like less than 100,000 users. And so it's pretty easy to see like what's ranking. But now the big update is possibly one of the biggest new features since Blue Sky launched in its short history. Custom algorithms, aka what it's calling custom feeds. And these ones work kind of a lot like Twitter lists or like subreddits do, where you can subscribe to different feeds that have like algorithms sort of already tuned in to showcase different kind of posts based on like what you're interested in. And like I said, up until now, there was no other way to kind of see custom content other than that what's hot feed or who you're following. So this just gives you a little bit more personalization. I've started following a bunch of different custom feeds. I don't know if I can create one. I probably could, but basically it's like following like a curated list and you can just see the content that's in that. So
that's cool.
Slowly but surely, Blue Sky is building out little bells and whistles to keep people around and keep people engaged and showing them more of what they want. So it's interesting. Tell me about YouTube, though. YouTube pulled the plug on stories, which is a big deal, I think.
Well, it's interesting because we saw LinkedIn get rid of stories. And I guess I didn't know this, but I guess Netflix had like little stories within their app at some point too. I want to say someone else got rid of them very recently. But anyways, we see like, I feel like Instagram and Snapchat have really dominated the stories part of the social media verse, and everybody else seems to be falling to the side a little bit with their stories features. So I don't think it's a big deal just because it looks like a lot of stories or a lot of the popularity on stories has dwindled over on YouTube. So they're just kind of shutting it down quietly, and of course everything else that we know and love on YouTube is still there, including the community posts, which I think have kind of taken over their stories features on that app. But
well, like the community posts are awesome. I love those for a lot of my favorite creators because I'm like, I'm already on your channel. Like, why would I go off and find you on other platforms if I could just get the updates, text-based updates right here. But also like vertical video is everywhere, as we've seen. Like it's consuming every platform at this point, including Twitter, unfortunately. And so I think with that too, people are like, why would I post a story if I can just make it like a video?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I do like the ephemeral nature of stories, though. Like the fact that they disappear after a certain period of time just makes them more accessible. But I guess YouTube didn't really need it after all. So interesting nonetheless. No more stories, you guys. Don't go looking to create your stories on YouTube anymore. Just stick to Instagram or Snapchat. Tell me about TikTok's AI chatbot.
This one's interesting. So I think they're calling it Taco, I believe is how it's pronounced, but it's with a K, not a C. So it's TikTok's new AI chatbot, and it's being tested in the Philippines right now.
Okay.
And I could totally see just the bot and the algorithm falling in love if this bot is as wonderful as TikTok's algorithm is. But so it's very similar, or at least what I've heard is that it's very similar to Snapchat's AI chatbot, which of course, nobody liked. A lot of people did not like it over at Snapchat. So I think TikTok is being a little more careful rolling this one out. But it is supposed to help users discover like more content along the lines of what they're looking for. I'm sure it'll also have features like, search for whatever the best, videos for New York, like looking for pizza, and it'll give you that kind of stuff. But I think it's supposed to be just an entertaining new way for people to discover new content on the app. So
I can already see all of the screenshots that go viral on TikTok and like the swipeable score, like with like creepy sounding music. Like I asked the AI chatbot to tell me what year it is, and then it's like that, like the creepy
terrible one. There was some terrible one. It was on TikTok, but it was about Snapchat's chatbot, and the guy was telling Snapchat how upset he was with his cat, and that he was thinking about killing his cat. And the chatbot's like, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And he's like sitting there, and of course, like you said, the eerie music is playing over, and I'm like, what? Why? But
they're so ridiculous. Like even just for like the ridiculous kind of humorous nature of it, I know that'll be a viral commodity on TikTok once it launches in the US. Like I'm looking forward to it. Last big update that we have for this week is bunch of new features dropped on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So for all of you corporate folks, all of you sales and just LinkedIn homies out there, which isn't me because I just can't seem to bring myself to be on LinkedIn regularly. I'm trying though. I'll make it probably a resolution next year. But Anna, give me the scoop on like what is going down at LinkedIn in their Sales Navigator dashboard.
Yeah, so they're introducing a new feature called Account Hub, which is basically going to, I guess, help optimize sales performance within LinkedIn. So you'll be able to, I think the most interesting one, you'll be able to kind of track who is coming onto your website through this, like through your LinkedIn connections. You'll be able to track it over on LinkedIn from your website if you have it integrated with your website. But there's a couple of cool features, including like buying intent signals and filters within it. I've never tested out the Sales Navigator within LinkedIn, but it's pretty cool, the different features that they're dropping with it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They have like some auto save functionality too. Like LinkedIn is really trying to go hard and just like making it a CRM. Like they're like, we're your social CRM, which I can't argue with. It's actually a pretty smart move to be able to manage all of your leads and sales through the platform. It's just becomes a question then of like, where does LinkedIn get the cut of all of that? So I'm sure at some point they'll probably launch like a payment platform. They already have some stuff like that where you can like promote your services and like if you're a freelancer or you're a consultant and that kind of stuff. But I wonder how soon it's going to be until LinkedIn is like, manage all your freelancer invoices through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? They probably wouldn't be too far off in the future if I had to guess. Can you give me the rundown of this, like, this slow motion call out that you threw in the newsletter this week, and like why people love slow motion? Because I found that so interesting and I never thought about it from this perspective. But yes, give me the tea.
I guess so. If you're posting a video on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, really test out slow-mo, because there was this study that came out that basically proved that our brains process like slowed down movement better than when it's like at normal speed, just because it's just easier for our brain to be like, oh, okay, we're seeing this complex movement. Okay, it's all slowed down, we're good. So I think there was like a study or like little test that someone did on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, one of those, where it was like a GoPro recorded pogo stick trick, and the amount of likes that the slowed down one got versus the normal speed video got is I don't know the exact numbers, but it was like a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
If you have like some kind of complex motion, slow it down for people. We need simplicity.
It's like a pretty obvious effect that I've never thought about too in depth. But like when you think about food commercials, for example, you know, like syrup drizzled over pancakes or your cheeseburger coming together in like a McDonald's commercial or something like that. Like you have the literally slow motion of it to sort of contextualize and make it a little bit easier to process. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try it. I don't know on what yet. It's going to be probably something really weird, but I'm going to do it.
It's like my dog running down the street away from me in slow-mo.
Which is like a ridiculous face. I love them. Nothing is better than dogs in slow motion. Like if we're being honest.
Agreed.
So last little interesting story snippet that we had this week is this Lululemon campaign, which I would love for you to explain to me, because I think that this is so interesting. It's like the counterculture of dupe culture. So
I think they played it really well. So of course, you know, if you're on TikTok, you've seen like the dupe, you know, the little slide videos, or just videos just kind of being like, oh, I found this at TJ Maxx and it's like so similar to these other leggings. So Lulu decided to basically turn the dupe swap into a whole campaign where they gave out like a complimentary pair of their, which of course we all know their leggings are not cheap. So of their $98 leggings, if the people brought in like an imitation version of, you know, of their Align leggings. So they gave it away to like 1,000 different people in LA. And I think it lasted for like 2 days. But I think it was just a very cool way to kind of show people like, oh yes, our leggings are expensive. I love Lulu, but it's for a reason. Like, you know, you have your dupe here. We're going to throw those in the trash. Here's a free pair of our nicer leggings. So I don't know, it was cool.
What's the phrase that's like often imitated, never replicated or something like that?
Yes. Or duplicated. Yep.
That's the Lululemon approach. And plus think about like my marketing brain lights up, because I'm like, that's genius from Lululemon's perspective, because now they have thousands of pairs of dupe product that they can then look at from a strategic point of view and say like, what is it about these products that are having people go out of their way to buy them? And then it gives them a more like competitive advantage, I think, because they could probably, they really wanted to study those products enough to be like, these are the downsides of like these products. Here's why, you know, our Align leggings are better. So it's like kind of like a double whammy for them. They've got a ton of like rabid fans that we all know about. They're kind of spinning this concept of dupe culture on its head. And then they're also getting like a pretty good research foundation out of it as well. So smart. I'm here for it. All right, Anna, anything else that we have to cover this week? Anything you want to add in?
I think we did it all.
I think we covered it. Yeah, I think we did. Don't forget to subscribe to us, guys, on Substack. You can find us at thesauceffs.substack.com. It's also linked in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this. So go check it out. We release a newsletter every week. We also have tons of great content coming from the premium side as well. So if you are a paid subscriber, paid member on our Substack, got some extra goods coming to your inbox every week. So thanks for listening. Thanks for taking time in your day, you guys, to hang out with us. We enjoyed it. It was a little brighter and earlier today.
Yeah, mostly we're like hiding in our dark little caves.
Yes, normally it's like happy hour vibes or like sleeping hour vibes, but here we are in the bright of day. So we'll see how this works out in the future. But thanks, Anna. I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
Sounds good. Bye.
Hey guys, that's a wrap for this week's episode of the Sauce Pod. Hope you enjoyed yourself, maybe even learned a thing or two. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also subscribe to our newsletter that goes out every Monday night. All of the latest and greatest tips, news, and trends for content creators and digital entrepreneurs. Until next time, stay saucy.